Welcome to tonight's class or this set of classes because, hey, you may not be participating in this at the nighttime. I did just notice a synchronicity for the lessons that we are looking at today. I actually, my choice of outfit is just right. It'll make sense in a bit. This is On Path Empath. I'll make sense. I'll explain that as we get into the lessons. This is my husband designed this. This is something that we actually are putting out. So anyway, welcome to our quantum resonance class. Super excited to get into this material. And we are going to talk about something that is called suggestibility. If you've been with me for a little bit, you've heard me probably talk about that. And some people are already hypnotherapists, and so you understand this concept of suggestibility. It's actually something that really comes into play for more than just hypnotherapists. Honestly, I've taught my husband how to work with his dad's suggestibility so that their communication can flow a little bit better. And it's really interesting because it just works. You know, as a part of this program, some of the things we're learning are like NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. And that's something that people get that training in and get NLP training in because they want to be more influential, meaning they want to be more persuasive. Maybe they want to sell more. And so, you know, there's a lot of practical life applications. I don't think I have to sell y'all on that because you're here because this is not just for your professional practice. This is your whole life, right? And your spiritual attunement is just everything. So suggestibility is the way that we receive information and the way that we learn. Now, that's a kind of bland sounding idea. Let's contextualize it more for spiritual seekers. It's also how we receive spirit. It's how we receive energy. It's how we receive information. It's our receptivity. Now, we can receive this any information through mental, emotional, or any other kinds of energetic layers or somatic layers, any kind of input. And we're going to break down those different kinds of input. It is a core mechanism of our consciousness because it is the magnetism of the electromagnetic field. Electric means out. Magnetic means in. So this is the magnetic portion of our psyche, if we just look at it in that binary sense. Not to be confused with magnetic in the sense of, oh, I'm attracting something. That's not exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about how you receive information and how your clients receive information. And having this mechanism in line, it can allow us to be more adaptable. It facilitates our integration and thereby our transformation. So when we use it consciously, when we're aware of it, it really can become a quantum alignment and a way for us to come into coherence in ourselves and in how we are facilitating our clients. You know, it's interesting. I actually was in a session the other day, and my client actually is a hypnotherapist herself. And so we were working through in a light state, just some, she was in a light state and it was responsive. I was using a few different layers of like hypnotic tools and NLP and also kind of like Ericksonian storytelling hypnosis, but I was engaging her. And her eyes were closed for a bit of it, but she was doing a lot of engaging. She was talking a lot. I was asking her to repeat things. I was asking her to answer things. And I don't remember specifically what it was, but this was something that was a little more NLP, and I was moving her along in some statements for her to affirm. And she would say, this, blah, 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 blah. And then when I got to the third blah, 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 she goes, you tricked me. Because she recognized that she was saying this, and it was that sense of conviction. I feel it. But she was also aware that she had just made a transformation because, 2 minutes ago, that wasn't something that she could just say. And she laughed, even with her eyes closed and still in state a little bit. You tricked me. And it's true. We are actually tricking. We're like sacred tricksters. We're tricking, or you might even say manipulating our clients into alignment. We, as hypnotherapists or, healers, we take what it is. They say, I want this. And we say, okay, give that to me. Now I'm going to manipulate you into having that transformation for yourself. Now, that manipulation, that sounds like a harsh word. It can also be just creating the space of that tool of belief that we talked about the other day. We talked about creating the mechanism of a belief consciously. That's another thing that we're actually doing. We're creating the container that is basically like a belief for them to be in, and we're holding it for them. That's what we're holding space. And that is actually moving into their energy as we allow it to be created by what it is that they desire. And sometimes what they desire, what they want, is something they told us. And sometimes it's something that we're channeling from their soul, their higher self. And it's maybe a combination, a collaboration of both of those things. So the suggestibility is a way to help them to receive the energy that they desire to be able to make the change. And actually, it comes into play in pretty much all of the modalities, even in psychic reading. It can be very helpful to be aware of someone's suggestibility, and I'll explain why. So as I said, we are consciously working with suggestibility. It then becomes a tool for quantum alignment and coherence. So we will be learning about in this lesson 3 types of suggestibility. Now, by the way, this is painting with a broad brush, but it's the place that we can start, just to start like being aware of it. We're going to learn about open, aka literal suggestibility, defined, aka inferred suggestibility, and then we're going to learn about somnambulism. And we're going to learn about 2 ways that somnambulism shows up, either conscious or unconscious. Suggestibility is both a matter of nature and nurture. For this lesson, we're going to mostly focus on nature, what your natural kind of suggestibility is. But just keep in mind, this isn't definitive, even though we're going to speak a bit about it like it's definitive, just so we can grasp the concept. Our nature, how we actually mature and consciously work with our suggestibility, even in this lesson, when we talk about conscious somnambulism, that is a matter of applying your wisdom to be able to have yourself more receptive in the right ways, right for you. And we're going to be talking about it through the lens of human design. I have a PDF for us, so I'll pull that up in just one moment. So the human design chart reveals how our system is designed to receive and process information from all around us, from all of the energies that are available. And that it's really key. So suggestibility is about how we learn. And so think about learning. We receive information and we process it, right? And then it has to make a change. That's why suggestibility is so important. It's called suggestibility because it means we are open, we are available to have that information come to be suggested to us. It's the right word for it, and it's funny because suggestibility is, in some connotations, people think suggestibility is literally the same as gullible, and meaning like you're weak and dumb. But that's not it at all. I would like to be suggestible to my highest benefit. I would like to receive that suggestion and let it come in and process through my energy, become a part of me, change me. I would like for you to take this suggestion. Exactly who you are is exactly what we all need. You are here to do and to create magnificent beauty, phenomenal transformation for yourself and the people around you. You are here to shine your light in a way that nothing else in this universe can. You are needed. You are beyond worthy. You are hungered for by this universe. You are loved. You are supported. And you are a wonderfully available presence to the gratitude of the universe. The universe expresses how much you are appreciated. So I would like for you to receive that, process it, let it be a part of you. I would like for you to receive that as a suggestion. Wouldn't you like for your friend, your mom, for me to receive that? Okay, so being suggestible is it's neither good nor bad, except that it's necessary. So then I guess that overall makes it good. So let's look at our PDF. This is going to be available for you to peruse. As I said, we're going to look at suggestibility through the lens of human design. This is, and actually how we're looking at it in human design for this model too. It's really only one way that we can look at it. It's only one layer, but it's probably the most predominant, it's most significant layer. So that's why I'm isolating it on its own. There are some other things that we can see. Okay, this is what makes us receptive in these different ways. Those would be a little more inner tones to this layer of it. So the human design body graph provides us that direct lens through which we can observe how each person is naturally designed to receive, process, and respond to energy and information. And we talked about what suggestibility is. Of course, it isn't right or wrong. It does mean receptive. And then there are just different ways. So we're going to look at the literal suggestibility, which is the open. And we're going to look at the defined suggestibility, which is more inferred, and that is more filtered and requires a certain process. I mean, of course, even with the literal and direct, it's processed, but there's just it's a different machine, if you will. So each of these centers, this is just a review. These are the processing centers, all 9 of these. These are information comes in, information is processed, information is released. The electromagnetic field, remember that. Electric means sent out, magnetic means pulled in. So, for example, the root center is drawing in the energy related to these subjects: pressure, life fuel, and stress. That all sounds negative, but life fuel's not negative, I guess. It's drawing that in, and it is also releasing that. And so same with the solar plexus: emotions, feelings, nervousness or nervous system. Soma has a lot to do with the solar plexus. So that is information coming in, that is information going out. So that's how, when we say that a person has a literal suggestibility, meaning they are more direct, and we're going to break this down, and you see that is in their emotional area, the solar plexus, then they are literally receiving without any filter, because the defined is filtered. Without any filter, they're receiving emotions. All right, we're going to keep moving forward. So let's talk about the open centers, the open suggestibility, or AKA literal. We have the open centers, and I made all of these white because the open or undefined centers are characterized by having no backing color. They may have little dots inside there. They may have, those are called gates, but if they have a white background as opposed to a colored in background. By the way, it doesn't matter, like these don't have the gates on it, but it doesn't matter what color this is. It's not like brown means something and red means something else. That's sometimes just how people present the chart, just so you know. So a human design center that is uncolored, no white, no background, just white. This is where we have that literal suggestibility. This is receptive to energy and influence from the environment in a very direct way. It is sensitive, is one way to think about it. It's unfiltered, taking in information, emotion, any frequency, really with no filter. This is receptive to direct input and receives communication and learning by direct statements. So if, as a practitioner, I put down here coach, counselor, and hypnotist. But again, if you're working with someone in an intuitive reading, sometimes people don't want to hear what spirit has to say, right? And I actually literally had a client on Tuesday who said, can you tap in and tell me about this thing in my life? And I gave the information that came forward, and she was all bummed. And she goes, yeah, that's what I thought, Spirit, because she's also intuitive. That's what I thought Spirit would say, because that's what I heard too. And she's like, I don't always want Spirit to, I don't always want to do it. I have an argument a lot of times. So we had to work together to coach her into finding where her resistance was. And this is where the way that I'm phrasing and offering the information. I pulled it in, but it's not all wanting to go in. So we worked it around in a lot of ways. So what was happening there was she was actually being more of the second type that we're going to talk about. This type that we're talking about is receiving information more directly, more literally. So you can think about it as how you would craft an affirmation, or if you're working with someone else, their hypnotic suggestion. So an example of a direct and literal statement is, you are confident. And if I were delivering that to myself, I would say, I am confident. And that would actually help me to feel confident, to like call in confidence if I'm, highly literal. So key features to the open centers and the open receptivity here, receiving input immediately without filtering, highly impressionable, adaptive, and fluid, because if you're receiving this now, then you're going to receive something else next. And so it's it's a quick processing. Even though there is a processing, it is a much faster. These can absorb energies according to the areas of concern of the center. So again, when a person has an undefined emotional center, the solar plexus, they're that classic empath. They're feeling other people's emotions. And so they have to learn how to actually employ some kind of a process, which, first of all, that kind of a process is we don't hang on to what we don't need. That's one of the main things about the undefined centers, not hanging on to things that are not relevant, even though they're coming through. And to stay longer and process longer with your conscious awareness the things that are relevant and helpful for you. Which is why if I were having issues with confidence, I would want to spend extra time processing and reapplying to myself, I am confident. I am confident. Whoosh, it went away again. Okay, then a few minutes more. I am confident. Ooh, I can feel that. I am confident. And I'm really letting it apply to me. The open or undefined centers in the body graph, like I said, they'll be white or not colored in. So that is, and by the way, all of this works best in both experimentation and in contemplation of how people are different. So if you are if one of your own centers that is, either, let's say it's undefined and you have a partner, a friend, someone who's close to you, and did I say undefined? And then theirs is defined. And then just consider, ponder the differences between the two of you and feel into it. Or maybe as a clairvoyant, you could ask your friend or partner to let you look into what it's like to receive information that way, that is different than the way that you receive the information. So next we have the defined centers, which are inferred suggestibility. This is consistent, stable, and more of a self-generated kind of receptivity. Now, it's not that they don't receive any information, these defined centers, but they're still more of a self-referencing. These process input with an internal filter, meaning they don't absorb energy from outside as directly as those undefined centers do. They receive a certain amount of information, then they need to process it. And they won't take in more information until this is processed. And if that information that comes in, it doesn't just go like I'm confident. Well, what? It has to be trickled in sometimes. If it's not a match to what is already there, or it's something that needs to be digested. It's like a digestion is what happens with these inferential ways of being receptive. So we have this internal mechanism compared to that literal and fast almost way. There's a more of a delayed response, but there's nothing wrong with that. You just, you marinate with it a little bit longer in those areas. And this is more of the indirect, and it can be really influenced by personal memory, by personal beliefs, and your lived experience. So that's a part of what is actually filtering it, is what is, as it's suggested, defined for you. As a practitioner, you would work with this suggestibility type with indirect and inferential kinds of statements and communication. You offer the statement to the individual for them to consider and then let them process it. And that's more effective. So you don't go, oh, you are confident. You need to, this is where suggestion actually seems to have a little bit more of an alignment, because I just wanted to suggest to you, like that seems softer when I say it in that kind of a way. So if you were to craft an affirmation for something that is more inferred, you're going to offer it and you put a lot of buffer into it. So perhaps you can imagine becoming more confident. By the way, there are different days, different hours of the day where, even though if I'm literal and I would say one moment I'm like, I am confident, and then I really don't feel confident, and I might do better to give myself an inferred suggestion. I can imagine becoming more confident. Okay, maybe I can imagine becoming more confident. You know what I mean? It gives you the opportunity to process it and not just come up against the resistance of, wait, that's not my lived experience at this moment. I am becoming more confident, or I can allow myself to recognize moments where I can be more confident. Seriously, all of those little twists and turns, they're actually giving these expanded little moments, a little bit of offering so that the processor can take it in a little at a time. I'm getting this image of the way, especially in the 90s. Oh, yeah, more in the 90s, I guess in the 2000s too. If you had like a vending machine and you had to give it a dollar bill, and you had to like spread it out really flat. Yeah, spread it out flat. And you put it in the right way, and then you can't cram it in, right? You have to like let it catch. Oh, I didn't do it right. Okay, hold on. Okay. All right. Okay. Wiggle it in. There it went in. You got to get it in just right in order for the processing mechanism to be matched. That's basically it. So some key features here: we are receiving input through that with an internal filter, as opposed to the unfiltered literal. There is a tendency to rely on an inner consistency and maybe even past experiences. It's not to say that they don't change. They do. They absolutely do. And actually, all of this can be a strength, as we know just in general. Often the energy is projected outward, and it may influence others more than they are influenced. And again, that's just in a general sense in certain moments. And also, there's the sense of being you can be overly influenced by yourself in this kind of, a self-referencing. So we'll talk about that here in a second. There is an opportunity to learn and respond at your own pace, and might require some just time or space to integrate before responding, before reacting, before adding more information. And these defined centers, they will be the ones that are colored in. So I'm going to just go ahead and move on to somnambulism, and then we're going to break down a little bit more what it would look like if we have a mix of these different kinds of literal or inferred. So somnambulism, actually the word is based in being a sleepwalker. That's what it's kind of based in. And that actually is a common feature of someone who's somnambulistic, whether temporarily somnambulistic or in a more overarching, broad kind of, type of suggestibility. This is heightened receptivity. It's a deep receptivity. And this isn't like, oh, it's definitely all literal then. No, not necessarily. It can be definitely a mix of how the type is blended together. So this is something that we put people into during hypnosis, during trance. It's something that you're in an intuitive state. It is the liminal moments during life. And it's also when you're in fight flight, or when someone is in fight flight. So when someone's in a fight flight response, they are really receptive, which is unfortunate, because a person who is more in a defined, inferred kind of suggestibility type, and they're in a fight-flight state, they can be really suggestible to their own fears. You see, it's internal. Whereas a person who has more of the literal, the openness, can be really suggestible to what's going on outside. And this is what infomercials are counting on. They're counting on people who are somnambulistic in some way, maybe because it's the middle of the night and they're exhausted, And they're like, okay, cool. This person, if we just keep repeating the same thing over and over, they're like a sponge and it'll just drop right in. And the next thing they know, they're buying the thing, right? So unconscious somnambulism is what I will call this. This is triggered by that fear, fight, flight state that I'm talking about, trauma, or just even nervous system regulation. We talked about nervous system regulation last class, the class before, I can't remember. It's so important. Regulating your nervous system allows you to be more present. It's just present. And therefore, you can be present to spirit and you can be present to, the tasks at hand. So this state can create an opened loop suggestibility where a person becomes hyper receptive either to external input or to internal distortion. My husband has a defined solar plexus, a defined emotional center. And he said to me one time that if I believe my emotions, like I let them create reality and define my reality, it will distort my reality. Meaning it's like events and time and, material reality will be distorted. And so that he's talking about basically being suggestible to his own fear-based emotions. If you do it consciously, as we're going to talk about, and you allow yourself to be suggestible to your positive emotions, well, that's a good thing. And that's something you would do, with a conscious awareness. Unconscious somnambulism, you might have a lack of focus, scattered awareness, anxiety or fear responses, not rooted in present moment reality. I mean, absolute present moment reality. Like right now, I'm sitting here, and if I were having a panic because of, what if next week that thing happened? That's not present moment, right? And so internalized suggestion can lead to misaligned beliefs. It can lead to inflammation in the body and even disease, of course, because inflammation can lead to disease. It may appear as literal as you're absorbing external energy indiscriminately or inferred as if you're looping in internal narratives or misbeliefs or misconceptions. Now let's talk about conscious somnambulism. With training and intentional state, we can use this in therapeutic and spiritual work. An individual can enter a liminal space with awareness, purpose, intention, and of course boundaries, the correct boundaries, aware boundaries. Characteristics: access to subtle realms, intuitive insight, non-local consciousness, the ability to interface with the morphogenetic field for healing and for transmission, ideal for visioning, energetic facilitation, multidimensional awareness, requires presence, regulation, and trust in your connection, and just that sense of being able to be flexible in your state, to master your state. This is why we talked about in the first class of level 1, meditation, your own consciousness practice, making yourself flexible and I guess you would say strong, very much like working out. If you want to be able to have a movement practice that facilitates your cardiovascular health, your flexibility, and your strength. Your consciousness, fitness, same thing. And your meditation or different kinds of consciousness practices give you all of that. And then that helps you to be a conscious somnambulist for yourself and then to create that state for your clients. Now, here's the thing. In the school where I was trained, HMI for hypnotherapy, there are, I'm going to take this off for a second and then I'll put it back up. There are some teachers who have said like the hypnotist definitely needs to not go into state. And here's the thing. I disagree. And I'll tell you why. I disagree because you do go into state and you create the state as a suggestion to your client, even in all kinds of intuitive work. When you go into state, when you shift into state to connect with spirit, to give an intuitive reading or to give a channeled message, your client is offered that as well. Now, they might feel it because they have a literal suggestibility in that area where they're just like they can feel that energy. Or if they have more of an inferred suggestibility, they'll witness you doing it and they'll choose to allow it. They can do that. They can go, oh, that's what's happening there. That seems helpful. Let me see if I can allow that to happen too. I'm speaking very much like, inferred communication as I say that. So the thing that when I've heard a teacher say, don't go into state, I think that they think the only way you would go into state is if it was an unconscious somnambulism, because what the person is saying is like, don't get carried away. And like if you go into hypnosis while you're hypnotizing someone, you could sit there and the next thing you know, 10 minutes have passed and you haven't said a word. That's not conscious somnambulism. That's not a utilizable state. See, as a spiritual practitioner, no matter what modality you're using, you're going to be working in liminal spaces so that you're vacillating in the depths of the liminal spaces. You will be moving deeper into maybe something that's closer to a theta state in order to channel a message. Now, what's cool about how spirit will work with you is if you have your boundaries and your guidelines set up in advance, you can allow yourself to go as deep into state as you want. So that I know that my session looks like I'm going to go into a trance state and it's going to be for about this long. And I might think of that as in minutes or also in just my own life force energy of how much it can sustain that state, and then make sure that we have enough space for the integration and other kinds of intuitive questioning. And it happens that way. Because I let go when I go into state, and it happens pretty much the same way every time. And also, if I'm working with a repeat client who I know would benefit by more of the, let's say, channeled trance state, then that will be encoded in it because I recognize that, and it'll be even longer. And so it just works every time. But this is something that we do as a conscious somnambulist. We're setting up these different plot points. But if you have that, you are masterful of it. And then you're not going to fall into state and like not talk for 15 minutes. And then your client comes out of state going like, what's happening here? You become so masterful, and spirit can see, sense, and abide by how you have trained your energy to function, so much so that you get to go on a ride without having to stay in management of it with your conscious awareness the whole time. It's pretty cool. All right, some other did I do the key characteristics of the somnambulism? Yes, I did. Okay, so as a practitioner, whether a coach, counselor, hypnotist, facilitating someone in a conscious somnambulistic state. Well, actually, if you've put them into a somnambulistic state, you're the one who's maintaining it with conscious awareness. You're guiding it by either, if you're doing hypnosis, by the suggestions that you're giving. If you're doing an intuitive reading or healing, it is by the way that you are, the information you're bringing through and how you are presenting it to them. So you know that if you're giving an intuitive reading, especially as a reading, because you see something, you hear something, you have the claircognizant knowing of something, you still have the opportunity to shape it of how it's expressed, right? So this is, again, where having an awareness of where your client is, whether in their suggestibility or just in their attitude or mood or their hope or doubt quotient as well. So if a client wants to know about, I'm thinking of, let's say someone says, I'm really unhappy with where I live and we're getting kicked out and I don't know if we have the money. How are we going to have the money next month? Well, you look into that and spirit's all, nopes. That's a nopes. You hear that or you see that, and then you're like, well, it seems like there's a different opportunity. You know what I mean? Like you give it gently, you give it cautiously, and maybe even before you say that, you gently, you say to spirit, okay, what else do they need to know that will help them to know that they're safe, and what is the right opportunity, right? That's where you see how you're guiding the delivery of the information according to how they can receive it. In this case, we're talking about how fearful they are, and you wouldn't want to stoke their fear, but also about how open they are to receiving that information according to this metric of suggestibility. All right, so when we're working with a somnambulistic state, you still want to consider what their natural style of suggestibility is, whether it aligns more with the literal or the inferred processing. So even though they're pretty receptive and they're more somnambulistic, you may still want to give it to them in a gentle, gentle trickling out if you recognize that the one area that we're talking about, let's say we are talking about something that's emotional or looking at the spleen, it's something to do with fear and maybe well-being. Okay, we've got a defined emotional center there, and they're in a worried state right now. So we're going to massage that in gently and kindly and compassionately. And we're going to help them to accept that perhaps they can begin to release fear around this topic. And okay, perhaps I can, even if they're in a somnambulistic state, still their baseline is going to be, available the way that it is, because again, that's their processing. That's what's natural to them. And by the way, if all else fails, the inferred way works for literal receivers too. So if you have an open and undefined emotional center, you can still give something that is more, perhaps you can release those emotions to them. Oh yeah, that works as well. And so you might wonder well, why wouldn't I just use the inferred way of speaking all the time? Because there's something really potent about the literal, and that can be exactly the transformative delivery that they need at that time. We're going to let all of this settle in. It'll make a lot more sense as you experiment with it. So we're going to be able to recognize and discern the different styles of suggestibility, different states, and the states within ourself. I have a typo there, I see. And this awareness is essential for holding a safe, sovereign space where true transformation can occur without distortion, without overwhelm, without misalignment. And I'll just say again, remember that this is just one layer of how suggestibility expresses in a person, though it's really significant. And it's about the natural tendency. There's also, if a person, they can be in a defense, if you will, is what we call it, which actually makes it an inversion of how they would naturally behave. And I'll give you an example of that. If we have a person who, again, we're making it really broad strokes, literal. So a literal is normally comforted by, I'm confident, I am confident, right? That's a literal statement. If someone who would otherwise be literal on a day when they're not in a state, or maybe they've had some trauma, they may actually be going way to the opposite side of it. And I don't understand how I could ever be confident. How could I ever be confident? Confidence doesn't seem like something I could ever be. And see, they're actually looping within it. That's the opposite of what they are naturally available to. Another example on the side of a person who has the definition or the inferred suggestibility. I actually had this not too long ago. A client who had was presenting in the certain area more as that defined or inferred, but was so activated, so annoyed and upset with this one thing. And she said, I wish someone would just tell me what to do. So she's actually asking for a literal instruction. Now, I knew that wasn't going to work on her, so I didn't just give it, but suppose that I did. And I said, okay, you do this. Well, even though that's what she believes she wants at the time, she would be like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. I don't think you're right about that. Because her internal processing can't just receive the just tell me what to do. She's just going to, again, project the energy out and say, oh, I think you're wrong about that. And I don't see how that's even possible. So the defense actually can make it more of an inverted expression of what would be natural. On the other hand, you can develop your suggestibility not only into conscious somnambulism, but you can develop it so that it can present in certain situations, so that it's wise, so that it's more compassionate, so that it can pause or it can move a little faster, whatever might be more helpful. You can actually consciously use the subdominant that you have. So if you have more of a dominant inferred suggestibility, you can consciously activate something that's more literal if that seems to be beneficial for whatever it is you want in life, or it's beneficial to the process you're around. I will give you an example. So I'm highly literal, and that literal input can actually make me feel really, quickly responsive. And so when I was at HMI, College of Hypnotherapy, and I went in person for most of the school, and I know that about myself. I know I can get really excited by what the teacher is delivering. And so what I did was I would sit in the back of the classroom into the corner, and I would close my arms like this, because I didn't want to be like so responsive and like feeling like I need to react immediately from it. I wanted to let there be more of a process as I sat back a little bit in the corner. And even if I had a question or I wanted to contribute something, I let myself sit back and process. And I would do like this. I would let myself process more. And if I really felt like, okay, this is something I really need to ask about, then I would ask about it. But I didn't just like jump on it all the time. And so I gave myself more of a barrier so that I could filter it. And I actually used people and space to create more of a defined space for my processing. All right. Now, what I would love to offer you as homework, and you have this PDF available to you, as I said, you can look at other people's chart in your life and see how you are different. And this is also a really great practice. I just gave you some suggestions for affirmations, but of course, these are just for you, just jumping off points. So you can craft your own affirmations according to your natural suggestibility as you see in your chart. So if you had in your head center, if you had it open, you might find a way to deliver the affirmation, I am mentally clear and alert. I am inspired. And see how that feels. Now, also, if you have an undefined head and you're a bit annoyed or something, see if that I am mentally clear and alert, I am inspired. See if that works. It might not work, because if you're annoyed, you might be in that inverted defense state. Then look and say, or if you're defined head, or if you're kind of in that, defended state, I can allow myself to become clearer in my mind. I can choose to be open to receiving inspiration. So with these inferred suggestions, we're giving it a little more processing. Keywords are I can choose, I can allow, I wonder if, that makes it a little bit softer and gives you the opportunity, like that vending machine, just to receive the bill a little bit at a time. I'll be the one who discerns whether this is helpful. And so you can work through these and come up with your own. I would love for you to do that, because as you experiment with it and feel it in your energy, and I guess it might say, try both of them, like compare and contrast them. See if you have a defined root, what it feels like to say the really literal one. And maybe it does feel okay. And also that could be how you feel that day. You might be in a really good mood, so you can take a literal suggestion there. But see if maybe that inferred one feels a little bit better, This is the way that with your own application, that it will help you to begin to learn how to apply this to your clients. So right away, if you're working with clients, let's say you're giving intuitive readings with clients, right now, you can ask them for their birth information, put it in a human design, calculator. I like genetic matrix. You don't have to promise them anything about it. If you aren't working with human design, you don't have to say the reason for. I've been taking birth information since before I even knew about human design, because I would be looking at their, and I'm not an astrologer, so I'd look at a little bit of their astrology. I would also look at things like their numerology. And what I say is it helps me to tap into your energy field, so that you don't have to worry that they're going to have some expectation of some deep reading or something. So you can take that, though, and you can just have a look at it. And I'm going to pull up someone's. I have Taylor Swift's in this in a genetic matrix, so I'll just show you. Taylor Swift's chart. And let's imagine that Taylor Swift was my client. I can pull her chart before the session. I just kind of look at it. I'm like, okay, all right. So she's got a lot of openness, a lot of openness everywhere. She has that undefined emotional center. Well, that's really key because we know that emotions are a major part of all of the human existence. So it's almost like there's a little bit more weighting. It's like more heavily weighted if we have either defined or undefined emotions. So if they have a defined emotional center, it's got a little bit more weight for their overall suggestibility than another one does. But that also depends. If they're talking about their health, then, while their emotions are still a part of it, we also want to take into consideration maybe what the spleen looks like. So I would look at this and I'm like, okay, great, good to know. All of this is open up here. So, her capacity to envision and visualize, that might be very literal and very direct, very literal and direct emotional experience. Unless she's really upset, then it might have some more of the resistance to it. Okay, good. Oh, and then we're really grounded in these areas and the ego is really centered and grounded. So good. She's got a strong sense of will and ego. Good to know. Okay, great. So then I know that as I'm in the session and I'm giving intuitive guidance, that I could tap in probably and say, Spirit is telling me that this is the time for your confidence to shine and that you are becoming more and more confident. In fact, I'll bet you could say that you are really confident. And she's like, yeah, I am confident, even though I kind of worked up to it with some inference. That would be the way that I could kind of gather all of it in together. So you could just take that in and just kind of have it in your awareness and notice it and see how that is going to come into play as you're communicating with your client. So now we're going to move to another lesson that's going to open this up a bit. And we're going to talk about how, just a few more examples of each of the different modalities we're working with in the QRT, how the suggestibility is something that plays into it. So stay tuned. Let's talk about how someone's suggestibility, how they receive information, shows up when we are doing these different kinds of modalities, the ones that we are focusing on in this program. All right, let's talk about channeling and mediumship. With mediumship, mom might be coming through and giving some information. Mom's on the side of spirit. I'm imagining it's the client's mom, And we have to actually, we're a part of the conversation there. Sometimes they want to say something and we know that, well, we're here as the human-to-human contact. You've been on the other side. It's not really your bag anymore to be concerned about how humans communicate. So then how I can deliver mom's message in the way that is appropriate. How will they receive this information? Do I shape it with a little bit more of the inference so that they can gently receive it? Or do I give it very literally? Let's say that I have had a client like this who had a troubled relationship with her mother, and her mother was passed. And she, this person also, I should note, has done a lot of personal development. This person was much more highly literal, had an undefined emotional center, so was emotionally very literal. And when mom came through saying, I love you so much and I'm proud of you, I was able to say, she says, I love you so much and I am proud of you. And she's like, thank you. Yes. Oh, I appreciate that. Someone who's maybe, defined, maybe needs a little bit more. She, even as she's on the other side now, she's been able to grow to see how she's so proud of who you've become. And she's learned how to be more proud of who you've become. Now, I know I'm talking about it from mom's perspective of learning and growing, but it's actually going in very gently to that emotional center so that the person can go, oh, that's really nice to know that she's been able to, process how things were between us and become proud of me. That's good. You see? So mediumship, it would work out. Now, channeling, there is the sense of spirit kind of comes through as they come through. True. And yet, as I said in the previous lesson, if you were going to do a channeling session and you looked at someone's chart and you kind of just absorbed it, and you let that imprint come into your awareness, even as you stepped into the channel, spirit can, just like spirit works with the language that you use, spirit will work with some of that other coding that you've infused into your energy before you start. So that if Archangel Raphael is coming through, if the person is more literal, Raphael will say, "You are a healer." Whereas if the person needs a little more touch with the inference, Raphael then might say, "Okay, we'll filter it through this way. You are on your path to becoming a healer if you choose to." All right, so that is your channeling and mediumship. Spiritual counseling and intuitive coaching. This one's, I think, pretty clear. We talked about it a lot because you're guiding the way that you're communicating to your clients on their behalf. And by the way, while we're looking at this by, say, looking at their human design chart, it bears mentioning right now, especially in the counseling and coaching part, that the greater tool, even greater than their human design chart, is your listening. You will be able to hear how they're showing up that day. So by the way, like I have sometimes sessions and I don't have their chart. And I didn't take their suggestibility because I wasn't doing a formal hypnosis session. And, because I have other means to actually test suggestibility. I listen. And then, of course, I'm attuned to them empathically and intuitively. And in that, I'm aware. And by listening, I can hear how they're presenting and hear what it is, the touch of it, the way the information would come through, by this model of just understanding the different types of suggestibility. So listening it bears repeating, probably the most important thing. But I guess if we're talking about channeling, it would be good to have that map. But Spirit will figure it out too. Just you're learning about it. Spirit will be able to figure it out even if you didn't have their chart or something. Energy healing and thought form dissolution, very similar to what's going on with the counseling and coaching, because if we are dissolving thought forms, some of those can be really attached to some painful distortions, and we want to be gentle. We want to help to restore their sovereignty. We don't want them to be overridden in their sovereignty, either by working too literally or too gently and not helping them to move forward as quickly as they can if we were, So again, it's all in the languaging, how we are presenting what is happening in the energy working, because we speak it out, right? When we're doing energy working. What else? Hypnosis is probably also really obvious because we already talked about creating affirmations for yourself, and affirmations are hypnotic suggestions. Whether you give them to yourself or you are offering them to clients, it is making a suggestion in words that can be then absorbed or received. And so how those are phrased are really important. Again, listening is so important here because we want to hear what their words are. And then we actually package them just right for them to receive them back after we've induced them into the trance state, right? Neurolinguistic programming is all about using language in the just right way. And by the way, NLP, sometimes I think people think of it all as very literal and disruptive, but there's a lot of shifting things around, swishing and swapping things in very cleverly, which would be more of an inference. So once again, it's something that is done with language. So it's good to know how the languaging will be received by the person. And then, of course, with meditation, meditation guidance is hypnosis. And there are meditations that I listen to, and it's clear to me that the guide doesn't know anything about suggestibility. And it's often because it's too literal. It's usually the failing. The meditation guide is being so literal, and I just know that there are people who are like, what? I guess meditation doesn't work on me because this isn't working on me. All I can do is feel like I'm arguing with this person. It's not working. And so it's really important. If you're working with a group, you actually, like I said, inferred ways of communicating work for all the suggestible types. So you prefer that because you assume that, it will also work, but you can still throw some of those literal images and, suggestions into however it is you're delivering your meditation. Also with spiritual teaching, very similar to guiding meditation. I throw some literal things in there. It gets really exciting. And maybe sometimes someone in the audience can't accept that literal one, but maybe they can just that moment. So there's a lot of metaphors that are used in teaching, right? That's very inferential. There is storytelling that's used in teaching. That's inferential. And the way that I balance it in teaching, or the way I try to remember to balance it in teaching, is even if I'm talking about something that's kind of direct and literal, like mechanics, I try to remember to give an example, a metaphor, something that feels more like, oh, that's it alive and in motion. So there you go. That is how suggestibility, understanding how to phrase something, and actually spirits tell me right now, hey, why don't you tell a story so they can... I mentioned in the other lesson that I coached my husband to speak to his dad in a way that is in alignment with his dad's suggestibility. And his dad has a lot of that. It needs a lot of inference. It's interesting because he also has some highly literal ways. And that's also probably a lot of that has to do with more of the nurture, because he was in the military for 25 years. In the military, that's all very, very literal, right? Very direct, very literal. So he has adapted a lot of literal, ways to give and receive, but receive information. But when my husband was trying to talk to my dad about something that was, not my dad, my husband was talking to his dad about something that was, like, he really wanted him to be able to receive his support on it because it's important. And I guess I have to give a little context. My father-in-law is a professor of, he's retired now, and he wasn't retired then. And he's a person that likes the ways that things have been and doesn't much cotton to how the youngins want to do things. And this was starting to create a lot of tension at work. And my father-in-law was like in a lot of defense about it. And like it was starting to show up as, incooperative. And that's not how he is. That's not what his nature is. But he was feeling so defensive about it. So my husband really wanted to help him to just consider using something that was different in the system. One thing that you can do for that inference, again, to try to help a person decide that they have made the decision on their own, they've received it really gently and run it through their processor. One little, I guess you'd say trick, is to say, well, everybody knows that things work like this better. Because that somehow elicits their own, I know this, when you say everybody knows. And it was a truth. It's like everybody knows that new systems can really help the whole organization. For example, I don't remember what the specific issue was. And so he did that. And he told me afterwards, like, I said this to my dad. Everybody knows that, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, okay. So then again, delayed processing. So about a week later, my sister-in-law, talking to my husband, says, oh, Dad said this. He said that he's going to adopt this new system. And he thought it was his own idea. And Brian's like, cool, I don't need credit. I'm just glad it's, he's able to feel a bit more functional at work. So it's really magical. It's just, it's being able to help someone it's like contend with someone on their own behalf for their better thing. So take a lesson from my father-in-law and my husband. Suggestibility is a great way to support yourself, or understanding suggestibility is a great way to support yourself and your clients. I'm going to invite to studio. Andy, I just invited you if you're around, and then I'm going to look at the comments too. Holly. And hi, Jamie. Oh, Jamie, I have something to tell you. Hi, Andy, still there. I already said hi, Andy. And there's Courtney. Oh, Holly, you can get one. Available. Actually, it is available now. I will tell you all about it. And there's so many more. I'm so excited about this. This is something that My husband and I have been working on it. Hi, Lisa. This is so for you. And there are different colors, by the way. And where's Lori? I'm going to invite Lori to, I think that's everyone. Hi, you guys. So, Jamie, I want to tell you. So, we had animal communication on Sunday. And so, Jamie had, if you guys heard me talking about how Barnabas was astral projecting into my dreams, and Jamie had that with her kitty who passed on March 7th. Jamie, that night, Barnabas astral projected in my dream again. That very night.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
I know. It was so wonderful. I was like, oh, thanks, honey.
Oh.
And then today, someone that I knew from my old career, he reached out to me today and he was like, oh, I literally haven't talked to him in at least 3 years. He reached out and he was like, hey, can I ask you a question about spiritual stuff? My cat passed away last month and we just miss him so much. How can we connect with him in spirit? And so I told him, spend time imagining him there, like we talked about on Sunday. He will come and fill that space. And then some amazing things might happen, like he starts to show up in your dreams in ways that feel completely real. And he wrote me back, he goes, that's so weird. That's exactly what I've been doing. So he was just guided to come and have that, yeah, it's real. What you're experiencing is real. So, oh my gosh, we're so weird, aren't we? We have such weird lives. Let me see what's going on in the chat. You missed the invite. Okay, here we go. All right. So tell me, I can look at the comments. What did you Holly, you said is similar to an actor being able to take direction and make it their own. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Very good. Appreciate that. What else? What do you guys think? Tell me about it.
I had a question.
Sure.
So, it's been a couple of years, but I took the little test on HMI's website. And it's interesting because it came out to be, I think it was like 70% inferential.
Yeah.
And is that where like the nurture would come in for
Possibly.
me?
Yeah, possibly. That's it. You may be, and you, by the way, Andy can attest to this. People take that questionnaire throughout the program many times and it keeps changing for them.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, right. I've had, and when I'm teaching at HMI and someone is curious about that because they heard that I talk about this, they're like, one person is a reflector. She's like, so does that mean I'm 100% literal? I'm like, no, of course not. Am I supposed to be 100% literal? No, of course not. There's nurture in there. You know what I mean? Like, it can be that it has been more effective for you to receive information more inferentially. It can be, again, a very positive thing that you're slowing things down and protecting yourself. But Jamie, you also can receive very literally. I mean, you boom, right? Like that, right? So, yeah. It's also, those are questions I wouldn't call that this is much more effective. Andy, I muted you because it was loud, but I'll unmute you if you want to. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, I would prefer you like kind of just think about it. And also, like, the other thing about HMI, I love it. It's not nuanced. It's like, it's a 60% whatever. But what? Like, emotionally, you might be very literal, and then you might be much more, inferential about health, right? Or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
It's really not very complete in my. It's not a bad measurement, though. It's just, yeah. And people change as they're going through the personal development. You took it years ago. See, if you took it today, it might be different too. Even if you took that same quiz today.
Yeah, maybe I'll go take it just for fun.
Out of curiosity.
See, yeah, because it's been a few years, and I can see how healing would be would open me up to more literal.
Yeah, and you're never. It would be nuts if you were ever 100% literal or 100% inferential. That's actually not very functional. You know what I mean? So again, it's not a goal even to be like, oh, I must be exactly literal in those areas where I'm open and exactly inferential where I'm not. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. And also at HMI, just because of that, we have like three or four, Andy, probably like 4 other tests that we do that help us to understand suggestibility. Yeah. Do you want me to unmute you, Randy? Were you saying something?
I just think it's really funny because so I just got done with a 5-day retreat and then 2 days actually with a friend, and I have been talking about suggestibility all weekend with them, helping them understand some of their relationships and why they react. And I mean, especially at the retreat, right? We were processing our own beliefs, and I so resonate with a lot of what you said. I've like never connected it with human design before, which is so intriguing.
Mm-hmm. She froze.
Say that they. Oh shit.
That's okay.
Back?
You're back. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. So a lot of people who come to me feel like they're broken, like meditation doesn't work for them and affirmations don't work for them because they see everybody else doing these incredibly literal things. And I'm like, no, it's not that you're broken. It's that you don't have the right user's manual for your brain, and it's just different. So that is something I have been doing a ton of lately, and I love this additional layer to it, I guess. I think that's going to help me a lot when I start collecting birth dates and running charts for clients.
Yeah, good. Yeah, because you can, again, so like the way we learned at HMI is so helpful because honestly, there are other hypnosis schools who don't even consider suggestibility. They kind of just treat everyone the same. And then they'll be like, yeah, some people can't be hypnotized. Just like these people are, Andy's talking about. And that's not true. It's
I think
everyone is
probably
hypnotized.
90% of my clients are emos who, nothing's worked for before because everybody does all of this incredibly literal. I mean, even therapy to a large extent, even like talk therapy is literal. And it just has not worked for them. And they come to me thinking they're broken. And I'm like, no, I promise you, I have seen this before in like hundreds of clients now, thousands of hours. I can tell you, you're not broken. This just does not work this way in your brain.
Right. And if you look at it with human design, just with this, you can see the different applications of it. Where if you just go, I mean, of course, we know 70% literal, but what's that 30%? Well, it might be in the spleen, it might be the ajna, you know what I mean? Like that is actually those specific areas of how the information is coming in,
Yeah. I also really, really like the addition of conscious somnambulism versus unconscious somnambulism because I definitely have sensed that where, I heard them say like, no, don't go into trance when you're doing it. But I'm like, that's the only way I can guide.
Right.
I don't know. Like, I don't know what you're supposed to, if I stay all the way up and just like talk, I'm feeling like I am not doing anything this client needs at all.
Right, because you're not connecting intuitively. Then you have to be in some kind of state in order to connect intuitively.
Exactly.
And or creatively, right? Like being creative is a state.
Yeah.
And I understand, like someone that, like John Melton, he's assuming that a student is just going to like go off on their own. But
and to be honest, there's a lot of students who might, right? So
yes, but I think it would be,
fair.
I think it would be better to teach it. Yeah, that there's a good and there's a utility and there's something that's not useful.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back on mute now because I know
Okay.
I know I'm loud and driving, but I just
Yeah.
I wanted to say I'm so appreciative of this conversation because I do think, I mean, this is a concept I work with every day, multiple times a day, over and over and over again, and I think this added a lot of nuance for me that is going to take it to the next level.
Awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks. Now, I did say that like it's only one layer and there's a couple of areas that are like more emphasized, I guess you would say. And if you consider like the head center is also an area that has more of an emphasis, but it's similar to how if you've heard me talk about how everyone is clairvoyant and it's from one way or another. So if you have an undefined head center, you're clairvoyant because there's no filter between yourself and the images that come in. If you have a defined head center, that means you have at least one gate defined, and those are all clairvoyant gates. And it just happens in a more in first and then processed out.
That was the other piece that I wanted to mention that I love.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I find like, probably 90% of my clients are emos. And when you were discussing being so suggestible to their own fears and anxieties. I mean, I work with an absolute ton of like extreme anxiety clients, and that is, as you were saying that, I mean, it's just mind-blowing. Light switch flipped in my head. I'm like, oh, now I have actually a really good idea of something I can do to help them not get stuck in the spinning, because that is exactly what I see. It's like that makes so much sense. Yeah, so super. I'm gonna have to re-listen to this entire.
Oh, good. Well, and I'll tell you one way that I actually saw that. I had this client who had all 9 centers defined, and so I worked with her for about 5 sessions, and she kept telling me, I am so sensitive to everything around me. And I was like, no, you're not. The call's coming from inside that. Well, she was like, she took in some information and then it stimulated up all of her own stuff. And so she was being more suggestible to herself. Now, a person that has all 9 centers defined, so far as human design is concerned, they either are a triple split or a quad split. And what the splits are, like if you have a split, that means that you have a chunk of centers that are connected and another chunk of centers that are connected. And basically, it feels like you have 2 entities inside of you. And if you have a triple split, then it feels like you have 3 entities inside of you. And this 9-centered defined person felt like she had 4 entities inside of her. So she takes in a little information, and then all 4 of those entities are arguing with one another. But see, it's helpful to know what the mechanism is, because if she keeps thinking, I'm so sensitive to everything around me, well, she was literally moving all the time. And that was just exhausting her more, and it was wasting her resources. That was not the solution. And she was afraid to be around certain people and areas, and afraid to, because she thought it was this outside, but it was all her internal pressure. And now I didn't say it to her that way. It's going to take a little time, but it's good for you to know, because what are you supposed to do? She's like, I keep moving and I'm still upset, Then you can help her a little. Again, with that, you have to work with this client a lot more slowly. The other thing that's really cool with this one, who, you would think all that definition, how's anything going to get done? Well, I had the first session with her, and that's how I felt. Like, I don't know if anything got done. You know what I mean? Like, did she receive anything? We had 2 weeks until the next session. She came back, and because of that processing time, she had received it from the session, and then the processing time she came back, she's like, I feel so much better. But like a person who's literal in the session, they were like, I'm amazing, like within that hour. This one, it took her 2 weeks, and she had that same effect, and it was really beautiful. And it was very exciting to see. They just needed some processing time. So, yeah. Yeah, good stuff. All right. Who else? What else is going on? Any comments, and anyone practice, or did you have any thoughts as you looked at the affirmations? Go ahead, Lori. Yeah.
This is just a small thing, but my husband got his undergrad degree in speech and communications. He's a lawyer. Mm-hmm. And he was on the debate team, and he just talks about that. Like everything in his life, he processes through what he learned there. And the number one thing they taught him was know your audience.
Yeah.
And so that's what you're teaching us, is know your audience. And now finally you're giving me a reason to actually listen to what my husband's always saying is, pay attention in a different way. And it never occurred to me to do that. So thank you for bringing that up.
Oh, sure. And, it's interesting. Thank you for saying that. And knowing your audience in the sense of, like, maybe you don't know them all, you know what I mean? But then you know how to mix things in. You know that people receive information all different kinds of ways. So you can mix things in different ways, right?
Yeah, but you're functioning on multiple levels at the same time. So that definitely takes somebody who's grounded in their work and also understands this and can blend all that together. I mean, right now it seems daunting, but I imagine that once you practice for a while, then you can get it.
Yes, exactly. Of course. It's that's why I gave you the homework to practice with yourself, with the knowledge, and then see how it feels as you apply those different affirmations. Holly, I thought that I put it in, and now I can't even find it in my drive. You guys, when am I going to get out of this Mercury retrograde hell?
I don't know what you're responding to about Holly, but I also, if this is that, I couldn't find the PDF.
I know.
Is that what she's
I can't
talking
even
about?
find it in my drive right now. It's like disappeared, but it has to be because I'm using it right now, and that's literally where I got it.
I did see the PDF somewhere when I was looking for the link to join, but I have no idea because I looked through like 4 different classes.
Oh, I found it. Okay, I found it. So let me put it in. I'm going to... It's going to say just suggestibility right now, and it's going, and then I'll, move it into a correct lesson and everything later. Hopefully I didn't lose it again. There, I got it. I would try to, so here it is. It just says suggestibility, and it is published, and you can download it right now. Check it for me if you're in the student portal. I think it's there. So, I see it there. It just says suggestibility. It's at the bottom of the list under quantum resonance therapy, but in the level 2. Yeah. Yeah, knowing your audience. And, Tony Robbins is such a successful speaker and coach. I mean, he's really knowing his audience and communicating. He's delivering information in a way. Honestly, I mean, politicians all learn this stuff too. To be able to deliver information in a way that is dynamic enough that a lot of people can receive it. And we're just politicking on behalf of our clients. Yeah. Okay, good. Thanks, Holly. Yeah. So what else, you guys? This is also the opportunity if there's anything you would like to get some support on. In addition to if you have anything you want to ask about the stuff.
So if I'm like spinning, looping right now, like drastically,
Yeah.
Then if I use those suggestibilities, then that may help. Is that what you're... I
Are
missed
you...
some of it because I was trying to set up an appointment to learn Excel at my college because I'm taking statistics. And I planned on taking no math anytime soon till my brain fog cleared a little bit. But somehow I ended up in statistics. And I have no idea how to use Excel. And I'm like panic mode. I like almost walked out of class twice today, tearing up because I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Oh. The math is easy. It's just putting it into the Excel. That's like, I can do the math in my head. Like, that's not a problem. But I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm spinning.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just let's breathe. Right? Let's breathe. It's not immediate, right? It's, yeah. And remember that being calm and finding a way to unwind and let your nervous system be nurtured and regulated first, that makes you more available to solve a problem. So that's always the first thing to do. Now, it's also okay if you need to cry first and you need to express your frustration first, And you actually, it sounds like you're even feeling a little bit angry about it, right? Like so frustrated that it's like you're, yeah. So that's okay. Let that frustration, let it out. And you can keep crying right here with us if you want to. By the way, I have to say, I hated statistics. It was the only math. I don't like math a lot anyway. It's not my favorite. I actually loved geometry. Statistics was the one that made me cry too. Because it just...
I love it. I love math.
Oh,
love
good.
Math.
Yeah.
But this is not.
So just take it step by step. That's what it really feels like. That you feel like you're behind. And you're feeling all this pressure that you need to try to learn all of it right now. How long has the class been going? the statistics
It
class?
started on Monday. It was only my second class today. So I also know that sometimes I get frustrated in the beginning of a class. And once I get in the swing of things and I have it figured out that it's going to be fine. And that's what I keep telling myself about this statistics class. It's going to be fine.
Yeah. Good. That's great. Yeah. And you have a lot of literal, you have a lot of openness. So it's going to be fine. That's a good way to help to nurture yourself. But that's the first thing you want to do is nurture yourself. Take it one step at a time. Learn what one little thing about Excel. Did you actually get the class in your school? Did you get the Excel class going? Because you can also
no, I'm going to go into the lab and I'm going to work with somebody. They're going to show me how to use it. The teacher was trying to show me in class today, and finally he was just like, "Well, why don't you just watch for now?"
Oh no, yeah.
Yeah, and so I put my computer away and just watched. It was really embarrassing too.
No. You don't have to be embarrassed. You know what? And when you're an adult in education, like I had to remind Carson of this. I had to remind a few people, and then Jamie's going, "Yep, I'm an adult." she's in school right now. I told you this to Jamie, didn't I? I think I was like, you're only there for you. So it's also okay if you get a B or a C in a class. There's you know what I mean? Like you don't need to ace everything. You don't have to. You're there to learn what you want to learn for you, and you want to pass so that you can actually get the benefit of the outcome of the diploma and the certification and everything too. But pass and get as much out of it for yourself as possible. You don't have to do it. School triggers us. Traditional school, hopefully not with this because we feel a little bit more fluid, but school does trigger us to all of these old childhood memories of falling behind and being unsupported and abandonment. And I think that's what's dredging up right now is this sense of abandonment.
Yeah, as soon as you said abandonment, the tears started welling again.
I felt them. Yeah, I felt them. So let's call up little Courtney. Take a breath. Welcome her to come forward. Do you see her?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Where is she? What is she doing? What does she need?
She's just sitting there and she needs love.
Okay. Oh, well, you know how to do that. Yeah. You can go ahead and give that to her. You know exactly how to do that and let her know that she's doing everything just fine. Not only is she doing everything fine, that you're here for her. If she has any questions, she needs a hug. Yeah. What else does she need?
I'm just hugging her.
Good. If you want, you can ask her if there's anything she wants to show you, anything cool she wants to show you, anything fun she wants to show you, anything she's proud of that you're really interested in. Sometimes it's not right now, but just let her know you're really interested if she ever wants to share something with you.
She said, okay, she just wants loves.
Okay. Yeah. So there you are. You're there for her. And let her know you're there for her, yeah? Yeah, you got this. And so
Lauren keeps telling me also, I don't have to strive to get 100% on every single thing. I can get a C and be fine because I do. I try to get 100% in every single class. And a lot of times I do, but it's just not necessary in this one.
Tell Lauren I said, yep, right? Tell her. Yeah, Michelle Basil, she also went to HMI. My recommendation. And after the first couple, there's a class and then you take a quiz online just to prove that you took the class because you take it passively. And she was like, oh, I got an 80% on the last two quizzes. I was like, oh, no one knows. No one's looking at it. That goes across no one's desk.
I love that.
She's like, you're right. I'm like, do you think George, the director of the school who has 2,000 students a year, is like, I wonder what Michelle got, you know? Yeah. No, you're there for you and to get what you need so that you can serve the people that need you to serve them. And are they going to know if you got honors or 100%?
No. I was on the honor roll last time, though.
Well, we're proud of you. That's good.
Thank you. I needed that.
Good. Awesome. Jamie, did you pull up a little Jamie? You closed your eyes when we pulled up little Courtney. Yeah, how's she doing? Yeah. She's all right.
I can really relate to this conversation because I got an 89 on my paper and I was
terrible,
horror struck. Like, it was awful. And anyway, it's tough when sometimes you're like, I put a lot of effort into that, and then the feedback I got didn't make it clear like why I got so many points knocked off. And then my sister was like, she just didn't want to give you a 90. I was like, you're not helping.
She wanted to give you a master number of points deducted, 11.
Yeah.
So many points, 11.
Oh man. Yeah. It's not a bad grade, but I just keep telling myself that.
Again, who's noticing?
Just me.
Yeah. Yeah. So little Jamie wants you to be proud of her. And that's all that's happening, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think part of it too is that all going through school, like, well, especially in like junior high school, like I failed at everything because I didn't put in the work. And I was just like, I'd get mad at a teacher and I'd be like, fine, I'm not doing the work. Who did that affect? Only me, you know, but at the time. And so it's like, I strive for these perfect scores because to show myself, I guess, that I can do it because I never did before, but I don't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
So,
right. How would you even know if you were perfect?
Exactly.
Yeah. So Holly and Lori, how about you guys? How are you doing, Holly? We didn't see you for a couple weeks, I think. And I know you're moving through things. Anything you want to talk about or share? It's okay if you don't.
Yeah, moving through things physically, emotionally. I just had a really big move. I'm in my new place. It's going to be my third night in my new place. There's still boxes everywhere. Yeah.
And you're on your own? You're by yourself?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm in my pajamas right now in bed. So I'm exhausted. I didn't get a weekend. I just moved straight through the weekend and then had to go back to work.
Yeah.
So it's been a lot, and I'm still processing. I have a lot to process still.
I'll bet. What about the bunnies? What about the animals?
Lauren has the bunnies because they need to stay together since she's still trying to bond them. But I'll get to visit them, and we're on good terms, and I think that we'll continue to be close. Just I don't know. I'm just trying to be open to possibility and not hold on to. There's still part of me that feels like maybe it could work in the future, but I just don't know. So, but it's my first time living on my own, so it's a big deal.
Oh, really? First time not having a roommate, not having anyone?
Yep.
How does it feel? How do you feel?
So far, it's strange, but a little bit freeing. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you said how many nights?
This is only my third night.
Okay.
I'm still kind of, getting settled. So
does it feel weird at all? Like to be, well, I mean, it's a new place, so it's also kind of hard to tell where the.
Yeah, it's partially that. It's partially that nothing is unpacked. And also it's like pre-furnished, pre-decorated. So I don't know if maybe I can swap out some of the artwork, make it kind of feel my own, but it almost feels like living in an Airbnb. So that's a bit strange. But it's, it feels like a new chapter, and there's like a lot of movement happening for me at work and just emotionally, and I'm doing lots of processing and having new realizations. So it feels like big changes. Yeah.
That is big stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, living on your own I think, is really great to do that. Some people don't get the opportunity to, you know what I mean? Like they just,
Yeah.
it's a very cool step, you know? And I was living on my own for a bit before Brian and I moved in together. And Brian and I didn't move in together. We were together 4.5 years before we even moved in. And it surprised me when we did move in. I was like, "Oh, I need to compromise," because I'd had enough time on my own to really feel like, "Oh, yeah, I like
Yeah,
living on
that's
my
something
own."
I'm looking forward to. And a friend of mine said something like, "Oh, you've never lived alone, then like you don't really know what your own rhythm is." I
That's
was like,
right.
"Oh, that's true." Like, and I especially because my partner had pretty severe OCD, I was always kind of trying to, live by her terms. So now I get to live on my own terms.
Wow,
So,
big
and
stuff.
develop my own routines. I was always kind of trying to like work around her routines. So, yeah.
Well, congratulations are in order because that is really
Yeah.
impressive
I
and
also
big
got a
stuff.
promotion at work, so that's exciting.
Wow, amazing. And you're excited about it, happy about it. It's in the alignment that you want.
Well, to be seen, to be TBD. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
happy with the money, but yeah, I'm like not sure about what they're wanting me to do yet. I
Okay.
feel like I need to forge my own path. So
Yeah, that's what I actually heard that right before you said it. I was like, "Oh, they just named it something. Is it new? Is it a new? Are you creating the position?"
we're calling it.
It's new,
I
right?
wanted evangelism. Yeah, I wanted evangelism to be in the title. It's marketing
Oh,
evangelism, which so that's exciting. So yeah, there's definitely opportunity, and I have a lot of support. So
you have been manifesting that for a while.
mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. Kate, I just
Yeah.
gave you an invitation. I don't know if I missed you or you missed it, but in case you wanted to join us. Oh, there she is. I'm so sorry if you tried to join us and I messed that up somehow. That's amazing, Holly. Congratulations. I know you have been manifesting that for a while. And
Thank you.
so, yeah, I could feel that it's new. And I've done that a few times, like a couple of times in my old work situations. And it's like they give it a name and they give it like a description. They probably just want you to create it. They don't really know.
Yeah.
They've hired you to do it. They haven't
Yeah.
hired you to do something. They've hired you to do the
Yeah, and
thing.
my manager is giving me ideas of things to do, and they're not quite right. Like, I'm gonna give it a shot, but then I'm gonna do what I actually wanna do and be like, "Okay, this is better though, right?" But, I was thinking about your whole, like, burying your career, and I was like, "Oh, man, I really need to do that because I got super, super triggered yesterday when I found out I'm no longer presenting at conferences, which is the whole reason I got the job in the first place, and it gave me this, like I was like, "Oh, man, why am I so upset by this?" And I realized it triggered this um insecurity that I was going to lose my job because we just had another round of layoffs recently. And it was like people who they had removed their functions one at a time until then they had no more function, and then they just sacked them. And so I was like, "Oh no, is that what's going to happen?" Even though I just got a promotion, that's still where my
Yeah.
mind went. I was like, "Oh no, oh no." And but as it was happening though, I had the higher perspective of like, okay, these things are being removed, but I'm not actually excited about them anymore anyway. And they're
Yeah.
being removed so that I could do something better. That's not the reason they gave. The reason they gave is something else that didn't really make sense. But I'm just kind of like going, what? This is why I was originally hired. Why don't you want me to do this anymore? I was so great at it. Everyone knows I was so great at it. Um, and they're like, no, this is a product marketing function now. You're on this other evangelism team. And I'm like, it's not computing to me. But then I'm like, I feel this weird struggle between this kind of higher perspective of like, there was another program I had as well that was removed. It was just canceled, and it wasn't even communicated with to me. And I had to find out through someone else, like, hey, I think we missed the deadline on this. Oh yeah, we're not doing that anymore because so-and-so doesn't like it.
What's coming up
Yeah.
here is like, you can make it mean whatever you want to make it mean, you know? So you can make it mean that, yeah, you've outgrown that presentation thing. You've mastered it. You've outgrown it. You're like, I don't know, too important, if that's not the right word for you, but you know what I mean? Like yeah, you can actually create that meaning, put it in the field, and let spirit show that to you. Because when things are going away, when we don't even want them anymore, we're like, wait, that went away.
Yeah, so I'm like, why am I upset about it?
Yeah.
It's just it just like triggered a fear, even though I don't want it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, also, Holly, I feel like I have to remind you, I mean, you're working in a company with a lot of people. I think you're also amplifying other people's fears and emotions about, oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot. Yeah. Did I tell you guys heard me tell that story when I went to this, they do this once a year big awards show at the old company that I worked for, the Southern Wine and Spirits, the big corporate wine and spirits distribution company. And I had a unique position in the company that I created, you know what I mean? And it wasn't even a sales. There were no numbers attached to me. They did this awards show every year. It was so long, and it was like 500 suits and people going on stage and getting all these awards for sales awards. And I came home, this was probably the third year I worked there. I came home and I was laying against Brian. I was tired and I was all sad. And he's like, what's wrong? And I was like, I'm just like, I don't know, like, I should want to be up on that stage. And, I feel like I'm going to, I should, why aren't I figuring that out? And he goes, you don't want a sales award, honey. I think you forgot you're an empath. And I was like, fuck, that's right. 500 guys with all of this competing energy to get up on that stage. I don't want to be up there. You're right. I don't want to be up there getting an award. That means they expected me to do a lot of other things to get that award that I won't do. Compete in sales. Driving around, Hollywood, convincing people to buy thousands of booze that's crap. Nope, that's not what I'm going to do. That's not what I'm going to do. Yeah, can you imagine?
Funny. Yeah. That's great.
So anyway, maybe maybe you could just let it be the meaning that you want it to be.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And where was I talking about it? Sorry if I was talking about this on Monday. Yeah, it was like it's what Jesus meant when he said ask and you will receive. It means you create your cup and you say, this is your asking. Here's my cup. And it's going to be filled. Because you're doing the asking is with the same confidence that it is received. Now, sometimes you ask for blue Kool-Aid to go in there and they're like, no, you're going to get like, sparkling water and it's even better for you. But, but still, you're asking for the thing that's in your highest benefit. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Certainly, if you let it make the meaning that is helpful to you, will, again, regulate your nervous system, help you to let go of something that is no longer serving you. But yeah, you can also investigate why, just feel that feeling of why was I nervous about that thing going away? And really, like, what is it that I'm trying to, what is the belief there that is trying to make itself known to me?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a few things you could investigate there.
Mm.
Do you feel better about it though? That the presentation job went away and stuff, or?
Yeah, to a degree. Yeah.
Okay.
It's weird because I'm like, they still want me to MC and I actually hate MCing. I don't enjoy it at all. So I prefer presenting. So like the thing that I enjoyed was taken away. And even though I don't feel like I don't feel like I need that, but then I would just prefer not to go. Like, don't make me go then, someone else can MC. Why am I going just to MC? That's stupid. I don't know. That's my feeling about it.
Interesting.
It's like, I don't even want to go to these conferences if I'm not going to present.
I feel like emceeing is like even more important, but I don't know what your company culture is.
Yeah,
It's more
I mean,
spotlit.
in a sense, yeah, it is, but I've never felt comfortable doing it. I've never felt it just doesn't feel, I don't know why. I don't like it. I don't know why. I get flustered, like you have to keep track of like names and titles and partners' names and titles, and I don't know. It's like the same reason I was really bad at being a server, like remembering people's orders and all these details that I'm like, I don't know.
All right. Well, then
But
maybe it is, maybe you advocate for yourself and say,
yeah,
I don't think I'm the best one for this position.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
if you aren't enjoying it, that means you're not the best one for it. If your sacral
yeah.
says no to it.
I think that, and that's what's bothering me is like the stuff I still have, and then the stuff I'm being given, I really don't enjoy at all. So it's like there's opportunity, and I'm allowed to, just say, hey, I'm going to try this and present, I'm in a better position to create on my own from nothing. But then my current functions, I really don't enjoy. So, anyway.
Well, it's the time for you to create it though. And you know what I mean? So I think it's good for you to get, try not to look at what is and feel your way into what you love. Follow your sacral into what you would love. And you got part of it because you're the evangelist, marketing evangelist. So yeah, fill that out. But if you need to advocate for yourself and say, I think someone else would be better with this MC situation. If you just don't find it as a fit. Right?
Yeah.
But congratulations.
Thank you.
It's amazing. On so many things.
So many things at once.
Yeah. March gave you a lot of change too. Mercury retrograde, Venus retrograde, 2 eclipses. And you said, boom, I'm doing all of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I got the promotion in the eclipse portal. It's pretty crazy.
Oh, gosh. Amazing.
Yeah. Venus in retrograde isn't all bad.
I didn't notice anything with that one. I don't know. Yeah. Well, how are you, Kate? Thanks for joining.
I'm just wiped out. I fell asleep for most of the lesson because I found I'm so tired and a little bit dysregulated. Well, a lot dysregulated today, and so I just let myself receive and let it flow over. And I was thinking, boy, it would have been helpful to have some of. I liked your approach in school to sit in the back and have some of the distance because I was always in front. I have to absorb it all. It's not necessary. I do absorb it, and then anyhow. And so, really fascinating. But I was having difficulty following it, so I just had to I'm frustrated. I'm in my not self theme.
Really? So you seem exhausted.
Yeah. I'm tired. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for saying hi. We won't make you.
Yeah.
We won't make you do any more. I did put 2 meditations into. I put in, what were they? I know one is the silver sphere activation that we did in Astral Mastery. That one jumped out to be a part of this week whenever you would like to do it. And the other one is, miracle and blessing frequency.
Nice.
The miracle and blessing one is 15 minutes. And the silver sphere transdimensional journey is 33. So those are the ones for. Oh, and I have other lessons here that I have to. Yeah. I have to write the descriptions of them still. That's why I haven't released them yet. But yeah, that's what I have going on.
I've been really enjoying the clear mind, calm body meditation that came through Mystic Life Portal, and boy, that I used some of it today when I had time. The growing up at the beach, the beach was my one of my playgrounds, and it was just so beautiful to revisit the power of the waves. And thank you very much. That's really beautiful.
Oh, good. Thanks. I forgot what it was until you said the waves. Now I'm remembering.
Yeah, the force. I could just yeah.
Pulling it away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Beautiful.
I'll produce that too. I think I just gave it raw. I'll produce it and put some cool stuff by it. I mean, by the time it comes around at that time, it'll be new again. Yeah. Awesome. Well, okay. Yeah. So we have, I'm so happy about it. And we have so many of them now. I'm very excited about it. So, it was funny. I was telling my friend who she's actually one of my friends from high school, and she's opening a salt cave. It's really cool. It's far away. It's in, I know, right?
I love salt caves.
So magical.
Oh.
And she wants me to do events there. And so, we're going to put some of this merch there at her place too. And I was telling her, because we were catching up, and we were at lunch, and I was telling her, like, yeah, because she saw my post where I was like, I retired. I'm retired. I buried my career. And all. Then she's like, what does that mean? And I was explaining it to her. I was like, this, that, and the other thing. And then she was like, so what's next? So what? And I was like, well, Brian and I, and she goes, wow, that was a shift. Because I'm really excited about this thing that we're doing. I mean, it's a lot of things I'm excited about. I'm excited about this too. So thanks for being here and co-creating it. Well, all right then. If there's nothing else, we can wrap early. Go ahead, Laura. Yeah, sure.
I just wanted to respond to your call to.
Oh yes, that's right.
Create, and I did. And so yesterday, my partner and I wrote a big chunk of our new workshop, and today I wrote a 10-minute lesson for people who are not aware of their intuitive gifts to just like open the class up. And I think I want to do more with it, of course, but I took your call to do the 10-minute thing, and I created it.
Will you teach us then?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, good. So she's going to lead us in a lesson. Do you want to do it next Wednesday?
Okay. Sure.
Oh, look what you did. I'm going to go get Aliel. You were like, Tricia, but you did so much of it. I love it. I'm going to grab Aliel real fast.
Yeah, you really freaked me out about it, but, it's my first week of not taking naps since my mom died, and I'm definitely like, life has opened up, and all these new things are happening, new people, new clients, new everything, and I'm excited by it, and I feel like this is that time to just experiment and play and just take chances and roll with it, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
That's very good healthy 3-line. Healthy 3-line stuff. You gotta get your hands in the. You're gonna look at me, honey. Get your hand. She's looking at you guys, going, I want to go over there, and I'm like, no, you're not.
She's so cute.
She's so cute, isn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah, really great 3-line stuff. So okay, well then everyone.
My concern about it, like after I wrote the lesson, and then I made a document that I could put on the screen for you all to look at while I'm teaching. And it's just, some graphics and headlines, just to help you follow what I'm talking about. But then I realized, well, how am I going to read my notes? If I share screen and show that, then how will I also read my notes and be able to scroll that up? So I have a thing right here where my notes are, but I'm going to be looking this way. And
well, I just have the two screens side by side.
Oh,
I just kind of put. Well, no, I mean like 2 windows. So like, you know what I mean? Like I have my the Chrome, my browser window is open,
right,
and then I just have a document over that. And then I just kind of go back and forth between them. I know, and maybe what I put in my notes. Well, often actually the slides that I make, they're just my prompts, and so I don't really need my notes, and sometimes I am going back and forth. But I what might put in my notes then is like after I get set through this set of notes, then I'll put like change slide, and then I'll go over and like click and then click back to my notes. And it's perfectly okay if you just take a second, you see me do it. I'll be like, okay, and now, but I can work with you on that because
I'll
do you want to see her? So, you want to see her really close? Oh,
God, look how beautiful.
yeah,
She's so colorful.
Mwah.
Wow.
She's so cute. She matches your shirt. Oh, she matches my pants too.
She matches a lot of things. She's so colorful. And that orange beak.
Yes. You're so sweet and pretty.
Where can we get one of those sweatshirts, Tricia?
I will give this. So this is what we're doing. We have. You can buy it directly from our store, I think. We're still setting things up. So we're setting it up as a TikTok shop, and but I think you can get it otherwise. I actually was just asking Brian about this before I left today because I was like, I'm going to wear it. Someone might ask me for it, and he's like, well, we'll figure it out. So I will post if I get the link for it, I'll just post it in our chat. But we have a lot. We have a lot of fun ones. I have shirts what are some fun ones? Now, this was one of my favorites. Another one is like, there's some of them that are just actually funny. He hasn't made this one yet, but it's like grounded but grumpy. It's a funny one. So some of them are funny. Another one is that I really like. Actually, Brian made these really cool ones that just say "for the calm." Just like this phrase, this was "for the calm." We have some other funky ones that, I have "I love you, whoever you are," and then like on the back, it could say "dogs say" or "flowers say, I love you, whoever you are." That's my tagline for my show. But yeah, this is really cool. So yeah, I'll find a link and I'll give it to you. Otherwise, you gonna stretch it out. It's cute when she stretches.
Does your I love you, whoever you are, say Tricia Carr charm?
No.
It should.
Oh, it should.
I mean, that's your line. I definitely should be included. I'm sorry. It's just an opinion.
It's like I don't know, maybe I'll have some eventually that are more branded specifically to but it's kind of off my brand a little bit. But we're also making it so that it's more open to, people who she said, I want you to see me.
That's really exciting, Tricia.
I'm excited about it because we really are, like, I feel this, like, she's planning to fly away. You better not. It's like I really do feel like I am infusing energy into it. And it's, if you wear something like this around all day, it boosts your mood and your attitude. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to be doing some programmed crystals and stuff like that too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I'm excited about it. It feels like a good 5-line thing. You know what I mean? To be able to like put some things out there in a broad way. So thanks for the support and for the excitement, Holly. And there's different colors, but this color would look really great on you too, Holly, I think.
Yeah, I like it.
Make it, it's all funky.
See Birdie up close one more time?
Sure.
What's your name?
Aliel.
Aliel. Hi. Oh, so pretty. Hi.
Pretty bird. Pretty bird.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so cute how she knows she has an audience.
She does.
Yeah.
Let's see if you can see her.
Oh, there she is.
Yes. Hi.
I'm just a baby.
We see you.
I have to feed her still. She's not eating on her own at all. Like almost not at all. But she gets
a dropper?
Yeah, with a syringe. She's so cute. Yeah, like that. When I do that, she's like, "Oh, is it dinner time?" Because it's dinner time for her.
It reminds me of the Saturday Night Live skit when they're regurgitating.
Oh God, I know, it's the worst. It's the worst.
Oh my goodness.
So sick. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I'm dark today. I'm going. Pluto is fucking with me today, man.
I like Dark Kate. Don't you guys like Dark Kate?
Oh,
Yes.
She's a bit of a rebel. She gets in trouble. I've already been in trouble twice today.
Oh, that's good.
I picked 2 fights today. Ugh.
Really? Woo.
Oh yeah, it's not my norm. That's true. It's not my norm, but
You had some anger you had to get out, huh?
whew, yeah. Whew.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you off tomorrow or anything? Can you rest?
I am. I didn't sleep well. I woke up like I am ready to get up, man. You know, and so I put on went into your class actually to try to make up, see if I could listen to Monday's class, but I guess I need to maybe re-download the app on my iPad.
And you know that it's through the Astral Mastery class. The
Okay.
Monday ones are.
Okay. And Kajabi, will it update in Kajabi?
Yeah.
Or do I need to go through the browser? Okay.
No, it's updated. Yeah, it should be the browser or in the app. If you're having app problems, then it could be. Yeah, maybe it needs to be updated or something. I don't know.
It might.
The app. Yeah.
But the Astral Mastery.
What was that?
I said, I hope you're coming to channeling group tomorrow.
Oh yeah, I plan to. Yeah.
Okay.
Get some dark Kate channeling. That would be great. Or maybe she'll be bright again tomorrow, probably.
By channeling group, you mean Sacred Sphere, right?
Sacred Sphere on Sunday, yeah.
Yes, thank you. Sacred Sphere.
Good reminder, thanks. And holy boy, you just got a lot going on too, so.
Amazing.
Congrats on the move. And on the promotion.
Yay, thank you.
That's
a
lot, man. That's awesome. Yeah. Give yourself a few minutes to figure it out, you know.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so Lori's going to headline next Wednesday. Or do you want to do it on Monday? Either one is fine with me.
It doesn't matter to me. I mean, it's really content for Monday is more appropriate for Monday, but
cool. Yeah.
See, it's for people who don't know. I mean, it's just the basic primer, like foundation of, you know, developing the language of what else I'll talk about, you know, after this. So it's just, you know, unity consciousness and that kind of stuff.
What if I had a webinar that I invited my whole list to, and what if like 30 people came and they can just ask questions on the feed?
No, thank you. No.
It's like I said, would you like a sandwich of dog crap? No. No, thank you.
One thing at a time.
Okay. All right. I know. Reflectors, we see the big picture. We're like, do this.
Thanks for trying.
Okay.
Another time.
So you want to do Monday then? Monday's great. And what we can do is maybe we meet just like 15 minutes before. And I'll give you you have to have a different link to come in as like a co-host.
Okay.
And I can just, you know, show you how to do the things. And,
okay.
And this is what I always say when someone's doing that, and all our wildest dreams will come true. So, hey. Little girl, she's cleaning herself. Look how cute she is. I wish I could get her to open her wings because she's got a lot of really pretty deep indigo in here too. Oh, you going to show us? Can I show?
She just did.
Yeah. She's lately, can I show? You can kind of see it.
Wow.
Oh,
yeah.
So
what a pretty bird.
Pretty bird.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hooray. Lori, I was looking, you guys are right next to each other on the screen. Lori's going to headline on Monday then.
Cool.
Holly is in her own place and brand new position, a new promotion. Jamie's kicking ass at school, getting 89s all over the place. Your teacher needed an 11. Your teacher needed a master number. Look what you did for her. No, you're doing amazing. So happy for you and so proud of you. Yeah. And Kate's here giving us a deep, rich tone of her warrior goddess, not taking any shit, and that's all right. We like it.
I am not really taking any shit today. And I am not only sitting for my Qigong certification exam, well, probably in a couple weeks, but also going to teach one of the pods, and I'm the only one who's not certified in something with them who's teaching. So I'm pretty excited about that. I put myself forward, and it should be very cool.
Do you want to lead a meditation on Monday? Or do you want to do it on like Wednesday next week in our class? Because remember also you said, or do you want to do it this Sunday?
Probably not this Sunday because I'm not sure how long I'll be able to hang out.
Okay.
But yes, to meditation. Depends on what's needed.
Well, if you are available, then Spirit will shape everything around that.
Yeah.
Especially because you got the manifesting qualities. So you know what, we can chat about it on Monday or Wednesday, so you don't have to
Okay.
You can wait to see which one feels better.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, and you can open it up for that. You're not going to fly anywhere. She wants dinner, that's why she's like looking around to throw a fit. Yeah. All right, cool then. Well, I'll follow up with you on that, and Lori and I will follow up too. All right. Anything else, guys? Oh,
Thank
we're a
you.
little after. I didn't realize we are a little bit over, so thanks for hanging out. I'll let you guys go. Have a wonderful night. Oh, Tracy's here. Hi, Tracy. Sorry, I missed you. You want to say hi? Sorry about that. I don't know when you joined. Oh, he joined like 3 minutes ago. So, all right then. Okay, everyone. Love you so much. Talk to you Sunday, if not sooner. And yeah, thanks for being here. Night.
Night.